Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is the February update for our AI training, and we're going to be looking at Higgsfield AI, which is a brand new platform for AI creation. And honestly, it's one of the most expansive platforms I've used, and there's so many tools, so many models that you can use. It's pretty overwhelming, but we're going to dive in. I'm going to show you some of the ways that I've been using it and how it could help you in your workflow. But really, this is kind of talking about just the new features and functionalities that are available and are coming out, because as we look at it right now, every day and almost every week there's something new coming out with AI. You've got Sea Dance coming out now. If you've seen the realistic video with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt fighting, absolutely bonkers. But we're kind of seeing that evolution kick up a notch right now, and I think this should be really great for creators, but also should be a warning as well, because there's a lot of things coming down the pipeline where productions are shifting more towards AI and shifting more towards these specialized AI productions, and we're seeing a lot of people get work with AI, but we're also seeing people lose a lot of jobs because of it. So there's again a caveat here and there with what's happening, but I'm really excited about using Higgsfield right now. I'm going to kind of go through and kind of explain what and how I've been using it. I've been working on a couple projects for people, both using AI as just a kind of demonstrative tool or as a pre-production tool, and then some stuff for commercial production. But inside of Higgsfield AI, if we take a look here, it is just flush with different features. We have the new Cinema Studio 2.0, which really allows you to come in here and create a pre-production, start to finish layout of what project you're gonna want to work on. And I will say that it is pretty expansive. There's a lot of things to go on. But what I will say is, if you have the ability, it is February now, going into March. Higgsfield does have a promotion, and I should say this is not sponsored by Higgsfield. I've paid for Higgsfield. But for about $1,000, you can get a 2-year unlimited usage of Higgsfield with 6,000 monthly credits, which is pretty good. Right now, I'm averaging about 4,000 to 5,000 monthly uses of credits. So I have about 1,000 extra credits just by doing a bunch of basic stuff. But it really allows you to come in here and use the entire tool set as it stands now. And there are a lot of tools. So we'll go through some of those tools. We'll take a look at what can do for you and what it offers. But if we go to the Cinema Studio, again, we'll come back into here. And what I really want to do is kind of create this scenery. And I'm going to kind of go back and show a project that I've worked on right here. So this is kind of my moonlit castle effect. I kind of wanted to create this adventurer scene. So I wrote up a little script. It's a little 10-shot script. And we've come inside of this new creator studio and basically set up shots so that I get my wides, my mediums, my tights, and we can tell a story doing that. And I would use this for pre-production if I were going to be delivering it to a director, showcasing, hey, here are the camera angles I want to use, here's the lens selection. And what I will say is Higgsfield has a lot of new tools that allows you to even come down here and select the lens type. So if we go to the digital studio down here and I select this, we can select the camera type we want. We can go digital, we can go 70mm format, we can go full frame, cine digital, 8K digital, all the way back down to the regular 16mm film days. It's pretty impressive, and you can actually choose the different types of lenses. Now, you can't choose the manufacturer, so that you can't get the characteristics, but there's a lot to choose from in spherical and in anamorphic. It's pretty neat, and it really allows you to kind of get that feeling as if you were shooting it inside an actual studio location. And you can change the focal lengths. And while there's not a lot of options for the focal length right now, you basically go from ultra wide to like a medium tight shot up to a 50mm max. There's no 100mm, 135 or anything in that range, but it's pretty interesting for what you can do now. But it really allows you to tell the algorithm, or I should say the data sets, how to actually create the model and the look that you want as well. And we also have aperture control too. So if you want a really wide aperture at f1.4, you can do that. Or if you want something that's going to sharpen the entire scene, you can go up to f11. But that's pretty neat. And I think that that's a step up that I think a lot of creators have wanted. And it really allows you to put your own custom spin on the product that you're creating. So that's really neat there. But here, what I've done is I have a 10-shot sequence, and I've gone through and kind of created some stuff. You will see that there's some failed things that have happened up here. What I should say is Higgsfield isn't great at generation or rendering. I have had a lot of failed instances where the images don't come back, or there's been some kind of server error, and that's probably because the server itself is overloaded right now. When we start talking about Kling 3.0, which is absolutely bonkers and also included inside of Higgs field, you'll find that the wait times and the generation times are just astronomical. We're talking anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour just to get one single 5 to 15-second video created, which is a little crazy. And it's not really conducive to a full-scale production yet, but the realism that comes with it is out of this world. And honestly, if they can make the generation happen within a few minutes, it's going to be really huge for the industry, both positive and negative. I can see coming out of it, but it's just really interesting to see what it is. So anyway, I've created this sequence in here, and then what I've also done is I've come back and going to the actual generation part. Is here's that sequence starting over here. And what I do love about Higgs field is that you can create a multi-shot sequence up to 3 shots at a time, and then you can come in here and choose the duration. So if you want the shot to be 2 seconds all the way up to 15 seconds, you could do that. Now I will say you have a 15-second maximum per render, so you really can only choose up to 15 seconds throughout those 3 frames or 3 shots. So here I've just done 5 seconds of each shot, and what I've done is I've started off with a wide shot, basically showcasing the castle that I had envisioned. And then our explorer getting to the castle and pushing through the castle. And I wanted this to kind of be like a first-person experience to begin with, and then allow the character to evolve when they actually get inside the temple. But I'm going to play this for you so you can see what it looks like. So that's the first sequence, and honestly, it's pretty good. I would use this as like a pre-visualization to show directors or producers what we could possibly do or how we want to lay out the shots. But then we can come up to our next scene, and if I come up here, playing this out here, we've got our explorer. He's walking through this abandoned castle. He's going down the staircase, and you can see here that the staircase itself, he didn't actually stay in the staircase, so that's an issue there. But we get to these really nice volumetric scenes with the lighting that comes through. And it's pretty on point. Now this is with Kling 3.0, and Kling 3.0 is the newest model for generation of video, and it does an incredible job. I mean, the realism, if you actually use realistic shots that you may have shot on scene, they look incredible, and I'll show you some examples of that in a minute. But the problem with Kling 3.0 through Higgs field, at least right now, is just the wait time for the generation. Again, you could be waiting anywhere from 20 minutes all the way up to an hour to get one single 5 to 15-second video created. And that's kind of what happened here. To create this, I guess, 9-shot sequence that I have, and I'll show you the last part here in a second, it took over 4 hours to compile all of that together. So it's not fast by any means. So if you're looking for someone, or if someone comes to you and they're like, oh, well, let's give me a demonstration of these scenes, put them out there as quickly as possible, it's not going to be fast at all. It's going to be really slow. But what we could have done too is we could come back up here, change our model, and we have all of the different Klings. We also have Google VO3, 3.1, Grok, and a couple other ones. We got Sora. But if we come over here, you can see everything that we have. Sora 2, VO3, CDance 1.5 Pro. If you've seen what CDance 2 is doing right now, it's absolutely bonkers and super amazing. But that's not available yet on this platform. I'm sure we'll see that coming in the next couple of weeks or months, just depending on how the lawsuits go, I guess. But that's pretty cool. But you also get Halio 2.0, or O2, I should say, which is great. And it's amazing to be able to use all of these different models in one platform, which is why, again, I think Higgs field is really great for that, because you can experiment with each of these different models. And each of these models do produce something a little differently. So they have a different little, different for the movement, different for the realism, different for the type of animation you may want to be doing, or live action footage you want to be creating. So you get those options to do it, and I will say for the price, if you are able to lock in the unlimited generation, it's a really good deal. But like I said, we're working in Kling 3.0, which is brand new, but the servers are overloaded right now. So you can do Kling 2.6, and it's pretty good. I would say it's just a slight step below 3.0 as far as realism goes. But again, it's still super realistic and can be used for, I would say, full-end production or for pre-visualization. But again, so in this instance, we're still using the Kling 3.0 model. You can come in here and add your own elements. So if we come down here and I click elements, you can come in here and create either characters, you can create scenes or elements within there. So if, let's say, you want a certain backdrop or you want a certain product to be placed in there, you could add that here. And it's just as easy as just clicking adding the element. You can add a reference name to it, the description, and then add all of your different images that would be conducive to creating it or reimagining it inside of the AI world. And you can add, I think, up to 4 or 5 images here. I'm gonna add another one with my signature black hat and charming smile. And then I'm gonna go ahead and create. And now I've processed an AI version of myself inside of Higgsfield, and you could do this with anything. So let's say you've got a set of characters that you want to add to your profile. You can do that. You can also use AI generation to create your own ones. Again, not super ethical, but I think we're going to be breaching those ethical boundaries here very shortly, because a lot of things that are happening inside of AI right now are unethical. Like, everything's almost unethical right now. But I will say, as far as it goes, and I keep hammering it down, as pre-visualization goes and pre-production, I think this is a great tool for that. So I could come in here, click, and say use element. And then if I scroll down here, it says I've got the adventurer and Drew together. So I've got myself and an adventurer there. So if I were to render this scene right now, I'd be able to see myself and this other character I've created come to fruition inside of Higgsfield. This last one I'm going to play so you can see what it is. I basically started out as a medium shot where our adventurer sees the scroll, and then I'm going to do an over-the-shoulder shot showing the scroll being read, and then we'll do a wide shot of the adventurer being revealed, and then these ghosts coming and appearing. But what's great about this is if you watch the sequence as it unfurls, is you'll see that there's consistency within the character, and there's also consistency within the scroll and the lighting. And I think that's really important, because as we move further into these evolutions with AI, we want to be able to create consistency so that we can create realistic shots and create realistic matching scenes. And I think Higgsfield is doing a really good job of that, and I can only see this improving as time goes along. But we were using Kling 3.0. I could come in here and change this to do, let's just do Kling 2.6, do the general model for that. Now, if you do that, you don't necessarily get the multicam approach, and you can't add characters, so it's kind of limiting on what model you can use. But then all you really got to do is come back and change it, and you can go back to Kling 3.0, and we click the general there. Then we get the multi-shot ability, and you get all these presets for it, and it's pretty interesting. So we're gonna watch this, and we'll see what it looks like. So it's kind of going for like a Lord of the Rings kind of feel, or a Dungeons and Dragons kind of look to it. But honestly, it did a really great job, because if you look through the prompt here, it says it's a close-up push in towards a weathered scroll resting on a stone altered etched with runes. The explorer hesitates, then reaches out, dust lifting into the air as his fingers touches the parchment. Atmosphere tense and silent. And these are just pretty basic prompts. I didn't go too in depth with it. And then the next one is an over-the-shoulder shot of the explorer as he reads the scrolls. The runes faintly glow. Shadows behind move independently of their sources. Distinct metal clanking echoes of armor shifting in the dark. And that, it gives it pretty good. So if we watched again, kind of see our models appearing. The timing is off a little bit, but realistically, it's doing a great job. But the last scene does say a revealing shot of the explorer with a wide 360-degree orbit with translucent spectral knights materializing in the room. Hundreds of ghostly armored figures, swords lowered, eyes glowing faint blue, and the explorer freezes in terror, breath, torches flickering wildly. And we get that. I think we get that really nicely. Eyes are glowing, torches flickering. We do lose a little bit of the character expression here, but again, this is just one iteration and one generation that we're coming through. And if I were doing this on a larger scale, I'd want to be doing this for at least 5 to 10 takes, because with Kling 3.0, you don't necessarily always get what you need out of it. And again, the generation times are astronomical at this point. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, the speed will be increased. I would hope anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes max. for that. I think realistically, 1 to 5 minutes would be the best range for that. But that's what we have right now. All right, well, in addition to Kling 3.0, we can also use the other models like WAN 2.5 as well as Kling 2.5 Turbo and Kling 2.6. And what I think is really cool about this is that they're much faster generation, probably taking anywhere from a minute to 2 minutes to do. But what I do like is you can now obviously do start and end frames, which allows you to basically take two photographs that you want to create a beginning and an end, and then allows you to then implement them in here. So in here, I basically had two shots that I had when I was a BTS of me out in the field, and I decided to add them both together. Now, they were taken in the same scene, but one was a wide shot and then one was a close-up. But then you get things like this that brings more realism to that. So if you want to create BTS of yourself and maybe you only have photos, you can now implement this kind of strategy, and it really gives you a lifelike, you know, studio quality shot, and it's kind of amazing, and I like it a lot. But it's also great for doing other things too, like if you wanted to combine things. And I did have a time lapse that I put together, and then a still frame of another one, and basically it was able to create this. And while the bird itself looks pretty fake as it's flying away, you do get this sense of realism where I'm creating. This isn't necessarily ethical, but it is using my work in the sense where the time lapse is actually happening in the background and the still frame in the foreground is being utilized as an animated piece. But it's really neat to be able to combine those two together inside of something like Higgsfield here to create this shot. I was also dabbling around with just using titling tools, and for this one in particular with my company, District 7, I wanted to create this kind of like cellular abstract look, and I was able to easily do that just by using text and using, I did generate these two start frames and end frames. So if I come over here and do this, you can see that the start frame was that and the end frame was this, and the AI generates, you know, everything that's happening in between, and you get something that's kind of unique and super interesting to create. Now that's just me playing around, having some fun. A lot of things you can do here with Kling 2.5 Turbo, doing eye shots, turning into like galaxies and whatnot. But it's pretty remarkable. But again, I'm using a start and an end frame, and that really allows you to go in there and create kind of fun, cool motion things. Now, what I'm not liking here at is sometimes it doesn't necessarily give the transition that you want, so you have to keep going back and forth, and the generations cost about anywhere from 10 credits to 30 credits. But as you can see, I've got a ton of credits left, even after using or generating about 50 different platforms. It's pretty good. Now, here's what I was using with Kling 3.0 and creating kind of like the realism. We were talking obviously about the castle scene. These were shots that I have of actual things that exist in the real world and putting them together. But it's really interesting the realism you get now with the lighting and with the sound effects. It's pretty cool. But in this particular instance too, you get these really, you know, lifelike hands. It's super fast, but ultra realistic, kind of cinematic, or kind of feels like a 1980s, 90s movie. But there's also some cheesiness that's involved too. And this was super cheesy, and this is kind of the first iteration of the project that I just showed you. But it's pretty interesting. And again, I've been testing it out with different models, you know, trying to turn things from 2D into 3D. And these are some architectural drawings that I had from a client, and I want to kind of bring those to life to see if it was possible, and did a pretty good job. Kind of show some of these as well. But these are just kind of some of the kind of use cases that you can use if you want to show clients what's possible. Um, my Sony camera, I wanted to kind of strip it down and take it apart, uh, and it does a pretty good job at it. Now that lens at the end there, I don't know what it was thinking, but if you're able to start with a again with a beginning photo and an end photo, it'd be pretty interesting to see what you can come up with. But again, this is Kling 3.0. It's the most realistic model that I've seen or used yet, and Kling 2.6 Turbo again is probably the next best one. But this is pretty phenomenal, and I think when VO4 comes out, that'll be the next jump up over this as well. But it's just really interesting and really cool to see where this technology is going. But if you are interested in learning about Higgsfield, I'd say go out, check it out. There's so much to do here. along with video, you also get image character creation and the character studio. And you can really come in here and there's just so many different tools that you can come through here and do with storyboarding and character development and relighting. If you already have a video that you want to use, you can come in here and use the relighting tool to relight it, change the background. But that's something that we can discuss in another video. But realistically, if you have the ability to go get Higgsfield, try it out for a month, see what it's like, see how it could help amplify your production workflow. But I do think something similar to this is the type of environment that a lot of AI producers will be working in the near future, where you can just come in here, whether you want to go from image to video, back and forth, if you want to add sound, audio, or if you want to take your own footage and come in here and implement new things on top of it. There's so much you can do. But what we'll do in the next update here is we'll probably dive into CDance 2.0 when it comes out, or even VO4 when it comes out, because VO4, much like Kling 3.0, is going to be ultra realistic and probably be ultra groundbreaking for what's happening inside of the AI field. But I'm excited for that. There's a lot of things happening, and I think over the next 6 months we're going to see another giant leap in the AI world when it comes to how content is created, how it's delivered, and how we tell stories. But as long as you're out there trying something new, doing something to help elevate what you're doing, I think this is a really positive thing for the community, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. That'll do it for this monthly update, but I'm really excited to see what happens next month. I'll keep you guys up to date, and hopefully we'll have more videos out in the near future. There's so much going on, but I'm really excited about it. Cheers. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is going to be our next update, and I'm pretty excited for this one because it's for an actual real use case. In this particular situation, I am going to be, or have already shot a photo session with a friend of mine. But before that, we wanted to get looks that maybe she could have used for her outfits. And I'm going to show you how you can use Higgsfield AI to do a ton of different looks and then implement that into your actual workflow of shooting and producing when you're on site. So we're just going to jump right into it and start. So one of the things that I'm really enjoying right now about Higgsfield is the fact that you're able to create a set of looks using a character. And what I've done here is I've created and used real photos from my friend Michaela. This is her here. And what we're looking for is to create a look for her where she wants to look professional, but trendy, hip, but also clean and modern. So that's basically what I've done through here is I've used the new image editor, and they have something called the Soul ID character as well as the photo dump. And if you use the photo dump right off the bat, what it's going to allow you to do is to take a bunch of different pre-planned and pre-created scenes and situations, and then put your character in those situations with different types of looks, which would include clothing, background, lighting, things like that. And what it really allows you to do is to see what those happen. So you'd come here, you use the preset, and it would basically generate a bunch. And these were the first that I got right here. And we can see that we have a ton of different looks for her. And what's crazy about this is that when I showed her these photos, she was kind of flabbergasted just because of the fact that it's so realistic, so lifelike, and it really allows you to see what you would look like in those different situations. And I think as a photographer or a cinematographer, being able to use this type of technology to basically dress your characters before the scene really allows them to, one, get in the mindset of what they hope to look like, and then you can talk to your wardrobe or your stylist, whomever you might have, or just yourself, and say this is what we want to use for the actual production. And I think Higgsfield is doing a fantastic job at this because for just a few cents, honestly, to generate these, if you have the unlimited version, you basically get this for free. But it really allows you to see the different types of outcomes that you can have when you're producing a shoot. And I'm really kind of in love with this technology because what I will say is, so after I got the initial looks down, I went back and said, okay, well, some of these looks aren't what I'm looking for exactly. So I was able to come back, implement her photographs, and then basically say, you know, woman in modern clothing inside of an old brick house with trendy looking furniture, white walls, soft white light on the face, pantsuit, and a tube top. Now, I didn't give it any more direction than that, and this is what it came up with. And honestly, I'm pretty excited about it. So this was going to be a dual shoot for two people, and it was a dual shoot for two people. And I'm going to show you kind of like what the AI had come up with, and then what I actually filmed in session. So this is what the AI came up with, and I think it did a really good job of kind of emulating what I wanted, because my model here, Michaela, was using a pantsuit with a tube top, and we were in this old brick house, and I was able to implement some of those photographs into there. And this right here, this in particular one, is really just kind of showcasing just a regular model. I didn't use Michaela for any of these. But then we kind of go back and we try different lighting techniques and different blends. And I was really excited for this. So when we got to the location, I really kind of knew exactly how I wanted to position her and how we wanted to have things happen in the scene as we were shooting. And here are the final results that we got when I was shooting. So this is the pantsuit collection with two different models here. And then I was able to go back and basically recreate the different moods that I had wanted, and being able to show Michaela these, and being able to show how we wanted the lighting to look, how we wanted the characters to interact and look. We're getting that information here, and we're using the AI to do that. And I think what's really great about this is that we aren't using AI to produce these images. We're just using them to help gain a mood board or a feeling that we want to be able to then project onto the actual scene that we're shooting. And for me, this is kind of like a huge game changer, because I'm able to come back through here and really adjust things as I wanted to. So I could then come back and then take these photos, re-implement them into the AI, and then basically change the scenes, the backgrounds, do whatever I wanted to. But I don't have to do that in this situation, because they came out exactly as I wanted them. And so we kind of went with the same deal with this, and I'm enjoying this photo shoot actually, because it's kind of just taking on more like modern photography, and not a lot of use of light here, but what we are using is more of scene textures and color to be able to create those offsets and balances. But because I'm able to generate these in AI and kind of see beforehand how they might look, I'm able to then replicate that in the actual scene when I'm on site. And for me, I think that's a game changer, especially if you've got especially if you have multiple characters or multiple people in your scene and you want to see what they're going to look like working together. Being able to utilize something like Higgsfield to be able to produce that is pretty cool. Now, these are obviously just kind of generated images. I had just put her with a male actor and not a female actor. And these were kind of just some of the images that we're able to get. But really kind of cool in the fact that we can create different looks and different feels. And then I can also relay these to the model or to the subject and say, hey, what do you feel about being like in this situation? And then we can also adjust the lighting to match these kind of mood board photos that we've created out of thin air, thanks to Higgsfield. But really easy, super simple to do. You just come back up into images, we do photo dump, or we can just do, the first thing I have done actually is create our characters and locations. So we can come in here, create a character. You can use images that you might have already, download them in there. I've put myself in there. I've obviously put Michaela in there. But then there's so many different things that you can do. And I will say that Higgsfield is a very elaborate setup of different types of prompting and different types of character animators. And there's a lot that you can do. And there's just, I don't really know how to express it, but you really have to do a deep dive into Higgsfield itself to really be able to immerse yourself in it. And it would take forever, honestly, to be able to go through each one of these individual sections and undo it. But if you go through here, you can do face swapping, you can do image upscaling, in painting, relighting, which I like the relighting tool, because if you didn't get the lighting right, you can come in here, actually use the photos that you had taken professionally and relight those and tweak them a little bit, and you get something that's pretty on point, and you can have it export as high as 4K resolution, which is pretty impressive. But basically, I was able to create her character here and then use her character up here and create images. And there's a bunch of different things you can use. So you can use Higgsfield Soul, come over here, I come over and collect and select my character. She's right there, and then we can come in here and then choose the different type of mood or feeling that we're wanting. We could also build a mood board, and it does give you a ton of different styles to choose from if you wanted to look through it. But it is what it is. And then we come in here and then just create. There we go. Hold on 1 second. Model is in an old abandoned house with volumetric lighting, passing through an open window, dark and magical, 3-point lighting, dramatic. Now, I'm going to go ahead and generate this and see what we get off of it. But it's just going to kind of allow you to see what's happening in real time. And the way and the amount of time that it takes to produce these is anywhere from a couple minutes to anywhere up to 5 to 10 minutes. But if you come on in at a downtime, you can basically get these images rendered in just a few seconds, which is pretty great. So we'll let these generate and render, but I'll kind of show you how that works. But I think this is really great and really wonderful if you're trying to get a look and a mood for your video or for your photo session. And this is really helpful for a lot of photographers out there and cinematographers. And I'll be using this quite often, I think, when all of my foreseeable futures. That way I can actually show the client or show the model what we're going to be doing ahead of time. It gets them comfortable. It allows them to understand what I'm looking for as the director and the director of photography. And then it makes the whole process that much easier. But then we're keeping it authentic in the sense that we aren't actually using AI to keep these or to have the finalized model, but we can use these to then just use them as reference. And this is pretty interesting that what we just created here. I like this. Not too bad, but you get the idea of where you can go. And what you can also do too is if you have the scene location already pre-photographed, maybe you went on a scout, or you can even go online and find the photos, you can then implement those as elements in the scene so that you could actually take a real life background, put the background in there, use your real life character, put them in there, and you can almost create a one-for-one scene of what's going to happen when you actually go out on the photo shoot. But I think it's really neat and very exciting. Again, this technology is improving and increasing every single month. And in 2 to 3 months, this could change dramatically, where it renders faster, it gives you more accuracy for what you're looking for, you can put more detail. And I will say, the more information you put into the scene prompt, the more realistic you're going to be able to narrow down that look that you're looking for. So again, using language and using prompting to your advantage is a way to create better content for reference, but also for creation if that's what you're looking to do. But that'll do it for this update. I'm really excited, and I can't wait to share more that's coming out in the next coming months. Thanks for joining me. Cheers.